just jump inside of my spaceship.
Where you going? We gon' meet up somewhere. Earth is glowing, got you saying a prayer. In the moment, we ain't going nowhere. Nowhere, nowhere, let's go somewhere.
Send the addy, better pull up. Pull up, pull up, pull up, pull up. 30 minutes at the jeweler. Showing that I got the moolah. She won't ever need an OnlyFans. When we dating and no longer friends. Hold it down as the only man's. Keep her covered like them clothing brands. Past drama, not an issue. Call me Zaddy when I kiss you. To the moon going with you. Yeah. By my side while I wish you. Never leave cause I miss you. Time we make it official.
All I really wanna do is vibe out. With me and you, I just wanna ride out. Love don't pay no mind to haters, baby, just jump inside of my spaceship.
Where you going? We gon' meet up somewhere. Earth is glowing, got you saying a prayer. In the moment, we ain't going nowhere. Nowhere, nowhere, let's go somewhere.
Long as we're fine, let spears fly. I'm never in a pickle when you're nearby. Come here, my peach, tell me where your fears lie. Whenever we're together, I am sears high. Got stories reflecting on the movement like mirror sliding. Clears my head. I'm an animal and here's my den. Go ahead, I'll be right in. You're the one and only, the only one who's ever known me. The gravity of it is I'm still floating. Telling me gotta speed up and go slowly. Not it cause I'm lonely, feeling lonely. Never forgot about the moment you weren't afraid. Like Macaulay in the word you are fully. Anywhere that nobody's gone, we go boldly. Just another reason to begin the ceremony.
All I really wanna do is vibe out. With me and you, I just wanna ride out. Love don't pay no mind to haters, baby, just jump inside of my spaceship.
Where you going? We gon' meet up somewhere. Earth is glowing, got you saying a prayer. In the moment, we ain't going nowhere. Nowhere, nowhere, let's go somewhere.
Baby, tell me where you going. Got plenty things to show you. Maybe up where the Joneses. Out of here where we floating, yeah. Other girls, they get roses. They ain't really real, they posing. Talking about views on social, but you get views of the ocean, yeah. High-rise city, we scoping. Out in Touche, we closing. Mansion in a plush robing. Other girls mad you chosen, yeah. Talking about views on social, but you get views of the ocean, yeah. High-rise city, we scoping. Out in Touche, we cozy. Mansion in a plush robing. Other girls mad you chosen, yeah. Talking about views on social, but you get views of the ocean, yeah. High-rise city, we scoping. Out in Touche, we cozy. Mansion in a plush robing. Other girls mad you chosen, yeah.
I don't think you've gone this deep, even when you're falling asleep. I don't think you've gone this deep, even when you're falling asleep. You fall asleep, you fall asleep, you fall asleep, you fall asleep.
We record while you snoring. Never been about that Taurus. We snapping on tourists. We play to win, better forfeit. Stun gun singing like chorus. We landed in Florida, still in the middle of the forest. You better run like Forrest. Every bar gold, that's oral. So glow, the aura. Way to go to girl Dolores. We skirt off the Lauren. Back to the future, we travel. We zoom into planets, we moving, we out. Yeah, passing you humans, we zapping you losers, bananas, we shooting, no doubt. Yeah, nobody even come close. Beating the odds with my bros. We're the squad and you know. Gone with no rappers, I've gone. Oh no.
I don't think you've gone this deep, even when you're falling asleep. I don't think you've gone this deep, even when you're falling asleep. You
fall asleep, you fall asleep, you fall asleep, you fall asleep.
Hey, that's my cue to come in. Slept on us too long, now you off it when the coming. Closing up the shuttle, 3, 2, 1, we're launching. Into outer space, blasting right past your assumptions. Slinging hammers with the boys, veteran be making noise. Thicker than the fattest cores, deeper than the hemorrhoids. Elevated people boys, get the power from the source. Danger, 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 danger. Turning back is not a choice. Y'all can't go. Look.
I don't think you've gone this deep, even when you're falling asleep. I don't think you've gone this deep, even when you're falling asleep.
You fall asleep, you fall asleep, you fall asleep, you fall asleep.
I don't think you've gone this deep, even when you're falling asleep. I don't think you've gone this deep, even when you're falling asleep. You fall asleep, you fall asleep, you fall asleep, you fall asleep, you fall asleep.
Say, look, hey, free Masana for your honor. Left on box and them chains. Rick was my dog, man. Why that bullet had got lodged in his brain? My mind is insane. A memory card is locked in the game. These optical frames spot ops and leave a block full of pain. Did the impossible, cross the tightrope while dodging the rain. I put these stitches in my Glock, no, I am not finna aim. Swear I got robbed and joined the army, so my spot could remain. One lost his life in North Carolina, hope he not as I sang. Drinking sorrow away on my alky still for the soldiers we lost on the battlefield.
I love you. I gotta bust your balls. Dusty wanted to kill me on the last show. It was so fun. I loved it. I love it.
Do it this way. Welcome to Plausible Foolishness. Don't mind the graphics. We are the two kings of the Rube Empire. I am the Philosopher King, the Ivory Tower, the Mad Scientist Mad, and I've got a perspective on things, and I'm going to fix this video issue. Oh, you'll see.
What are you talking about? What's wrong with the video? Bro? It looks good. Looks good. I mean, I look pretty centered. You can see half of me, so you're doing Illuminati.
It was perfectly fine before.
People are gonna think I'm part of the Illuminati.
Perfectly fine.
It's all good because the audio people don't care. The audio people don't care, bro. It's all good.
So ridiculous.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am the best there was, the best there is, and the best there is to come. No, sorry, that's wrong. Here we go. To beat the man, you gotta beat the man. No, that's not it. That's not it. Give me a heck yeah if you love Stone Cold Strong. No. That's not it. That's not it either. I am the executioner of it. No. That's not it either. I'm trying to remember. Ebony Rampart, the People's Champ, the People's Choice, the Master of Disaster, the King of Sting, the Heat Creator. You know, the man, the myth, the legend, aka the one, the Iron King, the strong one, is in Sukasa today, ladies and gentlemen. You ready to go today, bro? We're still fixing. We're still fixing. We're still fixing.
See, now look at me. It's so frustrating.
You look good, bro.
No, I am ready to go.
You're
I'm
dead
ready
center.
to go. I just
You're
want to be
dead
contrary
center.
to you right now because
You're dead center. You're dead sexy. Yeah, just shrink my head because first of all, my head's big enough already. Okay, my ego is ridiculous. Just bring it down. You got to calm this thing down. There you go. Move that sexy space over there. I like it. Now we got it rocking and rolling, man. Welcome to Plausible Foolishness, ladies and gentlemen. We're unanimous kings, and you know what? We've got perspectives on things, and we really want to kick some. How do I say that nicely? Some faces in today. We're gonna have a little bit of fun today, and we got a lot of things going on, man. We want to talk about those rascally Republicans today because I'll be real with you, man. I don't know. My anarchist friend here, the Ivory Tower. I love that you're my anarchist friend now. My anarchist friend, Ivory Tower. We're not too sold on the Republicans. I don't know. What are your thoughts on these boys, man? What do you think?
So what do I think about the Republicans?
Yeah, just give them a 30-second because we'll get back to that because that's going to be the last part of our show. But you know, what do you think about these fools, man?
I think that there's a few that that have their heads on straight and want to make a difference, but are basically blocked at every turn by the majority of scumbags who of rhinos, Republicans in name only.
Yeah.
They're I don't. The party itself claims to be fiscally conservative, but is not in any way, shape, or form. They're big government light.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. The thing is, I've said this for many years, and I saw a quote today that kind of encapsulated best. Like remember when everyone figured out the wrestling was fake, and like nobody cared, and people still were like wrestling, and I love wrestling. We love wrestling. We talk about it all the time. I think people are starting to figure that out about politics. It's like all the guys are like, we're Republicans and we're super conservative, and you're not. You're not, man. You're part of the satanic blood cult, Masonic, Luciferian psychopaths like everybody else. You're just going the speed limit. It just is what it is. You're just going the speed limit versus everybody else. So my faith in the Republican Party was definitely shaken. Because I'll be real, and I've said this many times on the show, I voted for Obama twice because my offerings for the other side was Mitt Romney, the actual creator of Obamacare, and John McCain, who literally made Obamacare happen. So you had the architect and the man who put the nail in the coffin. So you had the architect and you had Agent Smith. You know what I mean? Those were my two options. Quick plug for The Matrix, but which is coming out very soon, December 22nd. I will see you there, Matt. But yeah, I'm very excited. But those were my choices. It is what it is. Thank God. Sanctification happens, right? Justification happens when you get saved. Sanctification happens when you grow in maturity in Christ. And I realize I can't vote for baby killers. I can't vote for the Moloch crowd. So we've grown beyond there. So. But here's what I want to say in the opening, if I may. If one king can speak to another king, because it's just you and me talking. It's just 100%. You and me, king. That's what we're doing right here. JBN's jumping in on there. We got other people jumping in. Deep State's probably, skulking in the shadows somewhere. But the reality of the situation is this, man. Like, people love courage. They love courage in hindsight. They don't like courage in the moment. They despise it.
It challenges them.
They hate it. Yeah. I mean, it's like the civil rights movement. In the moment, the Democrats hated that crap. Let's get real. They didn't vote so hot for the civil rights movement. They weren't big fans of Martin Luther King. As much as they want to rewrite history, they weren't about it. now they love him. They love Martin Luther King now because they can use it and attach it to an agenda, right? Same thing, you know, the Republican Party was started initially to end slavery, correct? At the time, those Democrats hated the idea of getting rid of slavery because they were all about that life, man. Come on. They loved that slavery. It was making money for them, man. Cotton gins and shucking and jiving all day in the South. They love that. They don't like it anymore. They hated those Republicans at the time. Now they love that courage, right? Let me give you another example. Everybody was a feminist, right? I thought everybody was a feminist, right? In America. Oh, we're pro-feminist, right? It really is strangely quiet when trannies start invading women's sports. I mean, they're all for women empowerment. They keep throwing that same lie, 77 cents per dollar. Women have it so bad in America.
Over and over
right?
and over again.
Even though 97% of job-related, yeah, man. I mean, 97% of job-related deaths are men. 75% of suicides are men. What's the custody for men in divorces? 10% of them actually get custody of their kids.
Yeah,
crazy. I mean, it's crazy. But listen, it is a man's world on paper, not in the reality. But these feminists are all about the oppression that's happening because men, these perceived domination of men. But then when men who dress up as girls show up in your sports, it's all good. When the women show up, when the men show up dressed up as women for who's the trainee that's in charge of the health department in America right now?
I can't remember the name, but 4-star admiral.
First 4-star admiral female.
I mean,
right? Crickets.
It's in a nothing core of the military.
I mean, they're all
still.
Yeah, man, they're all Me Too, and so Cuomo gets busted doing some not so good things to women, and they get real quiet. Crazy. It's so mind blowing how feminism works nowadays. They're so oppressed. Men are so evil. But when actual
J.K. Rowling takes the actual feminist stance that men can't be women, and when you say that they can, it diminishes what it means to be a woman.
1000%.
And she gets demonized for it.
Yeah, because feminism, right? But it is funny. But the funniest one to me just was hilarious because people love courage. In hindsight, the courageous stance right now is standing up to the insanity that mediocre males are dominating women's sports right now. Case in point, here's another one. We talked about the one that happened in the Olympics, but let's talk about the one that's happening right now. Just so you know, the women's swimming records in the NCAA level are getting smashed right now, big time, coming out of the Ivy League of all places, which is crazy because let's get real. Ivy League's not known for the super jocks, okay? They're not known for the studs. We ain't talking about big boy SEC football. We're not talking about the Big 10, Big 12, Pac-12 Conference of Champions. I totally ignored the Americans. Sorry, UCF and Cincinnati. But the reality of the situation is this. They're not known for the stud sports. I mean, how many national championships do you see rocking in the Ivy League? Now,
do we see any?
But to be fair, they have
any?
Huh? I mean, back in the 30s, they won some national championships and stuff, like 1930s,
Back when they
were
in
those days.
Only colleges.
Back in those days. Yeah, back when they're the only ones. But what's funny is there's a phenom at the University of Pennsylvania right now in the Ivy League, just smashing women's records, beating women by 37 seconds in the pool.
37 seconds.
Here's the problem, though,
Matt. If you know swimming, you know that 37 100ths of a second would be a massive, lead jump in time in a sprint. So you're saying 37 seconds?
37 seconds. That's like lapping people. Mm-hmm. That's lapping people. Okay. The phenom.
What
said
race was it?
University of Pennsylvania.
What?
Huh? I'm not sure what
okay.
the race was. I'll be honest with you. I'd be lying to you if I
Okay.
knew. But smashing records. But the problem is, Pam's a shim. This new athlete's got a little extra. How do I say this? Testosterone,
chromosome,
muscle mass, muscle strength, bone density, chromosome, Y chromosome. You know, all those things that happen to, help in athletic endeavors. Because this swimmer was a dude for 3 years as a college athlete, and then took some hormone blockers in the off season, and now him's a she apparently, and Shiite is going out and getting it done, just dominating, just shim. I don't know the pronouns anymore.
Should
Sorry.
be called a dominatrix.
Trainee, dominatrix him. Yeah, I mean whatever you call him, or whatever it is, just dominating right now. Now here's the courageous stance. If you're a father, we happen to be fathers, and we happen to be fathers of girls.
That's true.
If I'm doing an athletic endeavor and my daughter's involved, and a little boy puts on a tutu and a wig and dominates my little girls, I'm going to say something. I'm going to raise some Cain, as they say. Reference to the Bible if you don't know what that story is, but I'm going to raise some Cain. We're going to kick some butt. Because that's completely ridiculous and opposed to the idea of competition in sports.
The reason we have separate gendered sports is because we want it to be a remotely fair competition.
Fair? Dare I say equitable? Dare I say, what are the other buzzwords I can throw in there, right? But let's get real. Like, where are the feminists at? Where's the Title IX girls? Where are all the people in a rage that Joanna Mann is dominating in swimming right now?
Well, they're all pretending that they're okay with it.
Where are y'all at?
That it's a brave and beautiful thing.
Which is so much courage. But like we've said many times on this show, courage is not laying down and taking it. Courage is doing something that you're afraid of to do, which is tell the truth in the face of all this madness. You would think that courage would step up, right? Here, let me give you another example of courage, Matt. Another one. Give you another one. We'll leave Joanna Mann alone. Right before we came on the show, the Senate, the mighty United States Senate,
august
the
body.
senators.
That sacred place.
That's
according to
those
Nancy
100
Pelosi.
members. Yeah, the 100 members that help govern the mighty United States of America just voted down Joe Biden's vax mandates for employers.
That is brave.
Brave. It is so brave and miraculous. But wait a minute.
What's up?
Every federal court in America has been shooting that down over the last 3 days. So he couldn't do it anyways.
Well, now I got to say that's brave and beautiful.
So that's like, okay. You remember when Florida said piss off, we're not wearing masks anymore? And like then, who was in charge at the time? It wasn't Trump, but then like a lot of the magically all these people started being like, oh yeah, well, you're free. Or no, what was it in Florida? It was basically DeSantis basically said, hey, listen, we're opening up. Screw this. We're not closing down. You remember that was like May of last year. Okay. He's like, nah, we're not doing this crap. And then magically all these mayors were like enacting edicts like, you're released to run your business again. It's like, really, really, bro, you're tough now. Oh, okay. Way to lead from the front. You know what I mean? Now, politicians do this all the time. They wait until they gotta feel the climate to make sure it's okay to do this. You know what I mean? Before they pull the trigger. The epitome of bravery. But what a completely useless, dare I say, cuck-like move to vote down the mandates a day after all the courts shot them down already. What was the point?
To look good. To look good doing.
Oh yeah, there's an election coming up. There's an election coming up in less than a year. And we gotta look like we did something over the last 2 years. Oh, remember when I voted down that evil Biden mandate? 4 months after the fact and after the judges had already ruled it was unconstitutional.
Yep.
Because here's the thing that's crazy. Biden knew that these mandates wouldn't work. He knew they wouldn't. But by putting him out there, all of the super lefty big corporations, how many people got forced to get mandated and vaxxed up? Because here's what's insane. I've got a buddy. It was the point. And I've got a buddy who's in healthcare, and he fought it and just got his vaccine last week because the timeline for getting this vax was coming up, and he would lose his job if he didn't get it done. A week too soon or a week too late. It's literally like, have you ever seen the ending of The Fog? You ever seen the movie The Fog by Stephen King?
No, I actually haven't.
Let me set the tone. Basically, fog comes to this store. There's monsters out there. You go in the fog, you're dead. You die. Okay? Classic Stephen King. A brave group of people get in a car and they start driving. But wouldn't you know it, there's no gas in the truck. They get about a mile down the road and car breaks down and they're stuck in the fog. And there are monsters everywhere in the fog, and they can hear the snarling, the spittle coming from the mouth. The monsters are closing in. My man's got a 5-shot revolver, and here's the problem, brother. Only 6 people in the car. So guess what he does? Instead of getting eaten by these monsters, he does the charitable thing and starts popping people off in the car. Subsequently, one of those people is his son. He feels that his son should get a bullet in the brain versus getting consumed by these monsters. And you hear bang, 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 bang. Takes the son out and then waits for the inevitable ending because the monsters are coming to kill him. And the next thing you hear is machine guns and everything. And the National Guard shows up and kills off all the monsters. And the pain and agony of the fact is, if the dad would have waited for 5 more minutes, his son would still be there. And ladies and gentlemen, I just accurately described the Biden vaccine mandate. They had no intention of this working. They wanted to be a shadowy fog with a bunch of monsters to scare you into submission and giving up. Until the reality set in that, guess what? This is massively unconstitutional and you cannot do this. But guess what? How many people died running into the fog? How many people died assuming the end was coming? Now, I'm not saying this vaccine is going to kill anybody. I would never prepare to say that myocarditis is incredibly high, especially in men while taking this vaccine. I would never say that. I would never say the fertility is for your children is at risk at all by this mandate. This
never
vaccine.
say that, like,
I would
supremely
never
healthy athletes are falling out in the fields, like
dropping like flies.
Never say that.
I would never tell you that, this thing rewrites your DNA to the point where you're more susceptible to other diseases. And I would never tell you that most of the Delta variant deaths were from other vaccinated people. I would never tell you that.
Not.
Because at the end of the day, vaccines are safe and effective, so safe and effective that you cannot sue the government, your employer, or any of the people making these vaccines. And I think how many years does Pfizer have to wait to reveal the results of this? It's like 22 years or something like that.
They requested
something ridiculous.
I think it was over like 50 years.
50 years. Yeah. So 50
like
years.
I can't remember exactly.
After this is long gone, yeah, and after you got your 27th booster, it's all good. But
we wouldn't say any of that because that would be medical misinformation according to YouTube guidelines. So
100%. And we would never cite the Israel study. Would never want to cite the Denmark study, the German study, or any other study that's out there that, is horrible for kids especially. But here's the thing. All I'm saying is this. That was never the intention, because you've said this so eloquently, Ivory Tower. This is the managed destruction of America. Okay, we are managing our own destruction. Yep. It's crazy. It is what it is. But what's funny is the funniest part about the story is the courage after the fact. The courage after the fact. It's amazing to me. It's like what's in The Hobbit? Who's the slimy dude who is the underling that shows up?
Grima Wormtongue.
Yes. Was it that guy, or was it who's the guy that he was the one trying to freaking it. See, I'm gonna butcher the story.
He was the one whispering
the city that's on the lake. No, I'm not talking about him.
Okay, you're talking about the actual Hobbit.
Yes, the actual Hobbit. The city on the lake that gets burnt by smog, but they all get off the city. They're all on the side, and then all of a sudden, the guy who wanted to kill the dude who shoots smog is like, "Oh, I was with you the whole time. Yeah. I was with you the whole time, bro. I'm with you, bro." Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And what's amazing is people are so dumb that these senators will go out, and Republicans alike. And I'm bashing the Republicans on this too. Where were you at 4 months ago when you knew that this was going to be happening and people were going to have to get vax mandates and people's jobs were being threatened for the stupidity? You had to wait for courts to step up and do your job. So, which begs the next question before I get into the real deal. What does the Senate do anymore, Matt? What do they do?
What they do is they write bills that transfer legislative power to the ABC agencies of the federal government, really of the executive branch, that are unelected bureaucrats that answer to nobody. So thereby eliminating the so-called power of the people from being a threat to their agenda.
Interesting. Which part of the Constitution gives them that power?
It doesn't give them that power, but it also doesn't expressly not give them that power. The power to make the agencies doesn't exist, right?
Oh. Well, I just was looking for the place where the CIA was made by the founding fathers.
So the alphabet agencies shouldn't exist. They're not constitutional.
Oh yeah. But I thought the FBI was right there with George Washington.
No.
When they
sure
beat
weren't.
the Brits. IRS. I mean, we've been collecting taxes from jump, correct?
Well, maybe property taxes, but definitely not income tax.
Interesting.
And the income tax was supposed to be temporary too.
Yeah. So I found that out this week. I'm like, shut up. But hey, courage after the fact. Courage after the fact, man. That's what we are. We are courage after the fact.
Yep.
Because there's going to be a point, it's going to get so ridiculous with trainees. We'll never have this conversation again in sports. No. We won't. It'll get so absurd at some point with this mandate stuff that, guess what? And it's already lost its steam a long time ago. I mean, the vaccine mandate died in August when people were falling from planes in Afghanistan. It was dead. I mean, it was dead on arrival.
There are still people who, like your friend and another of our mutual friends, who still have to deal with the aftermath of this crap. You know, the businesses who have that authoritarian straight running through them, and so whether or not it's been you know as unconstitutional on a governmental level, still think that it's their right to and that argument can be made to a certain extent.
It does give, but it gives our friends in that dire strait more ammunition to sue the living piss out of them if they try that.
I think so. Yeah,
just
I think
saying. So. Yeah, I'm just saying. But what I'm trying to say, and I agree with you, I think that you're still going to have to deal with the Disneys that just made all their employees get vaxxed up. Like, think about that. All the Disney employees right now are vaxxed up to the T. Well, imagine now they never had to do that in the first place.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Because Florida never mandated. That was a federal deal. So this gets blown up now. Now you're sitting there like, well, wait a minute. Why did I get a jab if I didn't need to? Why?
Well, and I just heard from somebody today.
For?
I don't know if it's true. I haven't verified it, but that Disney has pulled back from the mandate.
Well, they have to. They have to now.
So now all these people who got forced to.
Here's the thing. Yeah.
It seems I would be pissed. I would be really pissed.
But that was the plan the whole time. You know what I mean?
On that end, also, I was never going to let them force me. So
that's true. It's true. And listen, I get it, man. People, people livelihood and so on and so forth. But yeah, man, it's I don't know. I don't know, man.
Well, that brings us to our question.
I think I trust God a little bit more.
Like we were talking about the FBI and all that stuff. We've been talking about vaccine mandates. We have a new vaccine for children 5 to 11.
They're recommending 3 shots for Omicron that no one's died from, by the way.
Well, that's
no one's died.
No, that's not Fauci doing that. That's the CEO of another,
But think about this. Who's running the show right now? The CEOs of these vax places are running the show. But so that's what I'm saying is like to your point. It's like
the science. So they've done the science for the representative of the science, the living embodiment of science, Dr. Fauci.
Is that like when the scientists said that smoking wasn't addictive? You remember that?
Yeah. Or when
big tobacco said
when the scientists discovered that breakfast is the most important meal of the day.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh no, wait, sorry.
Stop.
That was
you're...
it's a synonym for scientists. It's marketers.
Marketers, yeah, got it. Hey, 4 to 5 doctors recommend Crest. You know what I mean? But no, I mean it's. So here's what's going on. Like I'm calling people to courage. Like courage means that you're in the face of this. Okay, this show's been courageous from jump. Okay, back in February 2020, check the record, check the score. We were coming out against this ridiculousness that is Rona. Now, praise God, Omicron has just really destroyed this whole narrative. Okay, like people are like at this point are like, really, stop, just stop. We're done. Now, in New York and California, they're tripling down. Sorry, you don't really live in America. You live in the communist states of New York and California, but everywhere else, it's crazy. Like nobody cares. Like, when's the last time? I can't even think about this, man. Like, when's the last time you really saw a bunch of masked up people in Florida? Like, straight up. Disney, maybe?
Yeah.
Maybe?
But since we've hit the lowest cases in the country, that's even gone away, was my understanding.
Yeah. Oh, dude, it's hilarious.
I could say my workplace, but I can't talk about that. I'm not allowed.
No, whoa. Can't go that far, bro.
Well,
reel it in, man.
Yeah.
Reel it in.
No, don't worry.
But no, I mean,
I still want to feed my family.
I'll give you an example. Like we go to the Millions of Lights deal last night at Give Kids the World in Orlando. They're a nonprofit that takes care of like habitually sick kids, gives their parents a free like week of vacation stuff. Really cool. to all the parks and stuff. It is a phenomenal. I've never been there. Phenomenal facility. But long story short, like percentage-wise, maskers were like 2%. And what's funny is you could see the old people that haven't really been out. They haven't really been out, and they'd wear their mask to the front, and then they look around and they're like, "Oh wait, nobody's wearing it." I'll give you an example. This old guy is literally walking into this place with me, and he's like looking around and kind of getting a beat. And you can tell this guy has not walked out of his home since whatever, because this dude probably habitually watches the news and really thinks everyone's going to die and everyone's wearing a mask. And this is in Florida. No one's wearing a mask. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of people walking through this. Nobody's wearing a mask. And you see by maybe the third light display, that mask just disappears all of a sudden. It's weird. It's strange. You know what I mean? Because it's literally sheeple. It's a sheeple mentality. It's like, it's so sad. It's so depressing, but I'm still witnessing. But everybody there, like, and especially in Florida, like, who wears a mask now? Like, it blows my mind. Like, I see these commercials from these big woke entities. They're still rocking masks, and I'm like, okay, this is insanity. But it kind of leads into the point that we're talking about today. Should the RNC be the party of the parents? And I've wanted to talk about this for a little bit. I just need a little bit more ammunition and so on and so forth. But here's what's up. I'm going to give a little advice to the Republicans, the feckless, soft, uncourageous Republicans, and I'm not going to give you an ounce of anything. You're only relevant because Trump showed up. Let's get real. Trump showed you how to spank that booty. I corrected myself for a second. Okay? Trump showed you that they'll call you all kinds of names no matter what.
And it doesn't matter.
And if you don't give a rat's behind, it means nothing. It means nothing. These idiots called the lieutenant governor of Virginia, the elected lieutenant governor of Virginia, a white supremacist. She's a second-generation Jamaican, and her dad came here before civil rights. And she's a military person. You're going to tell me that's white supremacy? Kick rocks. These people told you that you were killing grandma, and grandma never died. Sorry, she's still here. I just saw her at the Million Lights. I saw her hanging out, eating her popcorn, excited to be on the tram. She's still out there. You know, you told us so many things that were completely bullcrap. And guess what? Trump showed you how to do it. And I love my man DeSantis. He was grifty enough and smart enough to say, hey, that works. We're going to implement that in Florida. And magically, Florida is booming, kicking butt. Everybody wants to move here.
People
you can't buy a
who
house
live
if
in
you're a
Texas
young
are
person.
going,
Sorry.
Texas is great, but Florida's really got something. My wife was telling me JP Sears was saying that on Instagram. If you know who JP Sears is, Awaken
Who
with
is that?
JP.
Who that?
He's the guy with the
Who is
long
that?
red
I don't
hair
even know.
who like pretends to be a.
Oh,
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
funny. Dude, that dude's hilarious, man. His videos are great. If you haven't seen his videos, make sure you see him. But my point is this, like, think about this. Like, Florida is it is like the last bastion of freedom. Because, like, listen, I hear about Texas, but guess what? All you California people are moving there. And you're gonna blow it up. You're gonna suck it. You're gonna make it horrible. They're already letting people flood into your country. They're gonna be first-time Democratic voters. It'll take them 3 generations to figure out that it's stupid. But my point is this to the Republicans: if you actually want to win this, okay? Because here's the deal: I don't have faith in the federal elections anymore. So I don't. I really don't. The only way that a Republican's going to win the presidential election, if it's so painfully obvious that 81 million people didn't actually vote for Biden, okay? The way you do that is you completely clean house in 2022. Because you're going to think about this. They're potentially going to win the House back clean, big time, bigly. They're going to have control of the Senate. My boy Herschel Walker is going to be a senator in Georgia, which would be hilarious, by the way. More. Hey, Trump gave him his first job in the pros, USFL.
Nice.
Just saying. You're going to have a big swing there. And then on top of that, there's another fun stat. I think it's only 11 states have Democratic governors right now.
Wow.
Only 11.
That's good.
And that's getting worse and worse and worse because you saw Virginia go down. Go ahead.
Like, part of me says that's
But
great,
my
but
point-
then the other part of me is like, oh, but the Republicans are feckless and worthless, and
The Republicans are still
and
Republicans.
we're
Yes.
still talking about government and government.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And the Republicans are still Republicans. And I'm not defending Republicans. I am not. But I'm trying to give them some sage advice here. If you want a winning platform, Virginia showed you how to do it. Okay, it's really simple. You become the party of parents. And let me get a little bit deeper in that. Right now, fun stat, 17.8% of children come from nuclear families right now in America.
That's
Let me repeat
not
that.
good.
17.8% of children in America come from nuclear families. That's horrifying. Okay? Now, I'm going to play the how do I play this?
Well,
I'm going to put my
for
Presbyterian hat on,
context,
even though I'm not a
in 1979, it was 40% of American households were nuclear families. So, in 42 years, we've dropped what's that? 22%?
in half. Yeah. Like, think about that. So here's the okay. So I'm going to talk out of two sides of my mouth, so you have to forgive me. Okay, it's horrible. That's a horrible stat. Okay, horrible stat. That means if your kids play with other kids, let's say your kid hangs out with 5 other kids, one of those kids actually comes from a nuclear family. 1, maybe 2. How crazy is that?
It's pretty crazy.
That's crazy. That is a crazy, crazy, crazy world, which is super, super sad. Now, here's where I'll play the positive spin on this. Okay, coming from a guy who came from a divorced family. Now, truth be told, my parents didn't split up until I was already in college, but my brother and sister had to deal with this. Okay, reality of the situation is this. Okay, a bad example can either be positive or negative in anyone's life. Okay. I think that when kids see like, yo, why does my home life suck so bad? And I'm with mom all the time. And again, I'm not dissing moms, and it's no quarter November's gone, so I have to preface this now. So nobody's dissing the situation, and we don't know all the situations. But I think every single mom would pretty much agree it'd be amazing to have a dad in the house. Just saying.
A real dad.
Every single dad would say, man, have a real dad. But even a sucky dad would be better than no dad. Think about it.
Well, I mean, the statistics show that.
Just saying.
The statistics show that.
100%.
Barring,
even
real abuse, emotional or physical, whatever it is, we don't want that. That's bad. All of it.
Sure.
But
sure,
the statistics show that, just the pathway to a well-lived life starts with a mother and a father.
100%. 100%. Now, that being said, I think there's going to be a recoil, like all things, right? We went super Libby in the 90s and the early 2000s, and now you're seeing the hard right is turning back into this game. You know what I mean? You're seeing it. That's why you're seeing a lot of people grift into this world. You're seeing all these Republicans starting to act like they're tough fiscal conservatives now. You're not, but whatever. We'll try to hold your feet to the flame.
They're tough fiscal conservatives every election year.
Every election year.
And it has been.
But not when the budgets come out. But what I'm getting at is this. I think that there's going to be a rebound. We're going to see it for a couple generations. We won't see it till we're like grandparents. You're going to see a rebound like big time where people are like, yeah, this single mom, single dad BS is just not.
Well,
I'm not raising my kid.
We're already kind of
you get PTSD when
I think there's another side of the positive here, that if we look at it, I'm willing to bet very strongly that in the 90th percentile of the nuclear family, the 90th, 90% plus of the nuclear families in America are centered around two places in the culture: the right and the church, which is good.
100%.
That's good.
I agree.
Let's outbreed
I agree.
them. Let's go.
I agree.
You know,
Outbreed them because that's the other thing too that was part of that statistic. Low birth rates are insane right now.
yeah. Well,
Insane.
I mean,
So,
let's okay. So I worked at the Family Christian Store back when that was a company that existed, and I had a lot of friends, and we all loved Jesus, and I met my wife there, and we all loved Jesus, and save for one or two people, I don't know if the bulk of the people that I worked with and was friends with for years still believe that anymore, still love Jesus. I know some of them that absolutely do not. And it saddens me. And but the good thing is that if you look at their viewpoints, none of them want to have kids, and I'm like, well, at least there's that. I'd rather see them in heaven. I would rather see them in heaven because I love them. They're my friends. But sure. I am glad that they're not producing children and filling their head with this evil nonsense that they live by.
No, I'd agree. I mean, I think, listen, if you, my first wish is that everyone come to know Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior. I think that's number one. That is the answer to all the things that we're talking about here. That go beyond politics.
We're not saying this from a place of we're perfect and we've had it figured out since the beginning because we're like, I mean, we might as well be angels or something. No, there but for the grace of God go we.
Amen.
Yeah,
we only know the things we know because we've submitted to the person who knows everything, who knows all, to the Word of God. That's the only reason we even have a modicum of wisdom in this world. But to your point, so but the reality is this: I know that the gate's narrow. It's going to be real narrow, and I know pagans are going to pagan. People are going to be pagans no matter what, and it's fine if you want to be a pagan. I'm totally cool with it. Just don't have any kids. Believe in that made-up climate change. Believe that kids will, slow you down. Do what Hallmark tells you to do. Wait.
Keep telling yourself that life is about being happy and spreading positivity.
Yeah, I mean, listen, and I just want you to age out. You know what I mean? I want you, no offense, I want pagan women to hit the wall to the point where they can't have kids anyways. And not have any kids. In a couple generations, my kids won't have to deal with that. So it is what it is. But like
that being said,
it's so cruel.
That being said, the church does need to step up in the adoption arena.
2.2 million adoptive couples are waiting for kids right now.
Well, that's true. That's true.
Waiting.
That's true. But
the issue is
like
government getting in the way.
Agreed.
Again.
Yeah. I'm with you 1,000,000%. I mean, obviously, I don't think that I'm starting to think that we don't need government at all. So, I'm with you 1,000,000%.
Listen, I'm with you. What's your anarchist ring name for wrestling? What is it?
I don't know. I haven't thought.
Is it F the Man
Stand?
Is it F the Man Stand?
F Society or something like that. If you watched. Mr. Robot, great show. I need to watch the last season though.
Mr. Robot.
But I'm with you 1,000%. But there's also a statistic that I think if one in every 5 families that went to church adopted one child, there would be no children that need adoption.
Yeah.
But
there are
2.2 million families.
There are 3 parents. Dude, there's 3 homes for every available adopted child in America right now. 3. Because the issue is not the want or the desire. Because I'll guarantee you most of those people that want to adopt are probably followers of Christ. It just is what it is. My point is this. There is a reason why the government does not want Christian families to adopt kids because those kids figure out who Jesus is. Like, it's a concerted effort.
Yeah.
Like, let's get real. Here's your conspiracy theory reality that they do not want the people that want to adopt are Christian people typically.
Yeah.
It's not the gay boy adoption agency thing that you think is happening.
There's a few of that. There is that happening.
Sure.
Just enough to produce a marketing campaign that makes you think it's happening all the time. That's the typical gay household, if you will.
Well, it's like the Islamic Muslim girl video gamer, you know? There's like 2 of them in the world, and they market to that person, you know? Just so they're diverse and inclusive, you know? Sorry, go ahead.
But that gets construed as like the norm. The mainstream.
It's not.
It's not. No.
It's not. Fun statistic, homosexual men die 20 years earlier than normal straight men. So
why?
It's not really a good house.
It must be the systemic homophobia. Systemic homophobia. I don't know, man. Talk to the 80s AIDS. But anyways, my point is this. Like, I think, just kidding. Gay bowel disease, really. Whatever.
My point is this.
I'm sorry?
Huh? What?
What?
What? Sinful lives destroy you?
GBD?
Yeah, I got you.
You never heard of that?
What?
Gay bowel disease? Huh? Look it up. Or don't. It's kind of gross.
Oh, yeah. But my point is this, like, sorry, my bad. But we just got banned on YouTube.
Medical misinformation.
Misinformation. No, but let's get real. Like, okay, if the Republicans, the feckless, soft Republicans, actually want to win elections, because that's all they care about is winning elections.
Yes. And so that's the problem. We keep playing the game, but yes.
Listen, I understand. I understand. Listen, the game, but here's the deal. The idea, we'll get into that later. That'll take us on a rabbit trail. I don't want to go on that rabbit trail. Yep. Stay here. You got to become the party of the parents, because here's the thing. You have all these single moms out there that are desperate for daddy government to save them. Let's get real. Daddy government, because there's no daddy at home, so I need daddy government to save us, right? So I have to have great schools for my kids, because my kids aren't going to get a male influence because there's no dad at home, right? I've got to have great schools. Here's the problem. Most of the Democratic-run public schools are dog crap, and they suck.
Mm-hmm.
It's essentially a kid's penitentiary.
Yeah.
And they teach, I mean, think about it. That's all it is. It's a meat grinder. You put your kids in, doesn't matter who they are, what they think, and you smash them through the system. Then you pump them with a bunch of nihilistic
we take testing seriously
theology.
And okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. But the thing is this, American schools have nothing to do with reading, writing, and arithmetic. It has everything to do with critical race theory, nihilism. You came from a monkey science, and I use that word very loosely. You know, that's what you get taught. And then the kids come home, and the parents are like, "What the heck? Why aren't the schools stepping up? And why does my white kid hate himself? And why does my black kid think he's such a victim? You know, I'm a strong black woman. I can handle my business. Why in the world does my kid think that they're a victim?" Mm-hmm. Strange. Daddy government's not getting it done. And you're right, the Democrats will never get it done because Democrats hate kids. Case in point, they kill 600,000 of them every year in America in abortions. They don't like kids. And they're really pissed that abortion's about to get shot down, which is ironic because the Republicans have no power at all in the House, or the Senate, or the presidency. But eventually Roe's going to go down, just like Ruth Bader Ginsburg said it would. She prophesied that would happen. The prophet Ruth Bader Ginsburg, okay, prophesied that this would get shot down because the legislation's so weak and soft. Because again, this is a state issue.
I mean, the thing is that it's not even legislation; it's a court decision, and the court aren't legislators.
Yep. No, not at all. But don't worry, they'll be brave. All those Republicans will be like, "Yeah, I was anti-abortion the whole time. want this to get shot down.
I was
But anyways,
anti-abortion the whole time.
it's a more fake courage.
But I never did
I never challenged
anything to challenge it. Yeah.
Did nothing. Trump did, though. Remember when Trump defunded
Yeah, I
Planned
do
Parenthood
remember that.
completely? Strange. Hey, remember when Texas did the heartbeat bill? Some people are doing it.
Has
but
Florida
here's
done
the thing.
stuff on that
Here's the beautiful thing. So,
front recently?
DeSantis is here's the problem. I've heard that DeSantis is kind of soft on when it comes to abortion. That's not one of his main things. From inside sources, from people that ran for the Republican Party here in the city of Orlando, because he's pro-choice. He's a pro-choicer, but DeSantis will grift the way he needs to go if the country starts moving that way. Does that make sense? Because you're going to have a big upcry, especially in Florida, because we ain't about that killing baby life. But anyways, back to my point.
The thing. I like DeSantis. I like what he's done in Florida, for sure. But we cannot ever take any politician and think that they have scruples. You know, we have even if they do. And and like there's probably a few that it would be, you know, it wouldn't be stupid to think that they do have some scruples. But even then, treat them as if they don't.
True. No, I'm with you. But back to what I was talking about before, I think that the biggest thing too is that people got to realize, mama stay at home, or not mama stay at home, mama single mom that needs the government to step in and be daddy for her family, doesn't like it when, that's when daddy government messes with her kids. They don't like that. They especially don't like it when they have people saying that parents don't have a right or say in what is happening with their kids. They really
they're gonna,
that makes sense. So,
use the power of the FBI to investigate parents who might be having a problem with school boards and the direction that their teachings have gone.
And listen, all those Stepford wives, chilling in gated communities, will come out and they'll actually vote Republican because they're like, oh, geez, that's not very good. Even though I love voting Democrat, I'll actually vote the way I'm supposed to vote to take care of my kids. Because that's the thing we have to think about is we have to become, not we, because I'm not a Republican, but the Republican Party has to become the party of parents. They have to have a united front. Number one, we're the party of parents in the sense that we don't want people coming across our border that we don't know who are vetted that are going to come into our neighborhoods and kill our kids. Okay. Point to San Francisco. We do not want out of control inflation all around America so that our kids never have a chance to own a home. Because right now that's a big argument. No offense. I know somebody who's moving back to Ohio because he thinks it's going to be cheaper to live in Ohio just based on that alone. Does that make sense? Now, I would advise it, but it is what it is, man. People got to make decisions. They got to do what they got to do. But if you don't think there's a way to own a home, that doesn't give you a whole lot of hope. Does that make sense? If your kid keeps getting sucked into the college debt game with colleges that are perpetrated by the pushers that are the Democratic Party when it comes to this crap, you're enslaving your kids. Okay. If you've got any type of Jesus in your soul, you're not okay with kids getting killed or murdered in the womb. You're not okay with that. Listen, go to communist California or freaking, communist New York and kill your kids. Don't do them here. Not on our blood. Because the thing that people forget is there is a punishment for blood, man. There's a punishment on nations. It happens all the time. Okay. And man, I don't want to be around for that. I don't want to be blamed for that. But you got to think these things through. If our country is completely bankrupt by the time our kids are grandkids, what did we do? Okay. And the message has got to be that simple. It's listen, do you want actual control of your kids' schooling? Because guess what? Republicans are all for waivers. We're all for, hey, listen, your public school sucks. Go to a charter school. Your public school, your charter school sucks. Here's the money that you would have given to that public school. Go take it to your whatever private school you want to send them to. Does that make sense? Like that's got to be the platform. Is we got to protect kids, okay? Because here's the other thing too: is whoop-de-doo saving the environment if our kids can't even afford the electric car they're trying to push on you anyways. They can't afford it, and it doesn't mean anything. Like we're playing with monopoly money. You can try to save the planet all you want to, which is the dumbest thing that I've ever thought of or seen, the way that they're trying to do it. But you can do all these things, but it's not helping your kids. These same people are trying to push vaccines on you that give your kids myocarditis and try to kill your kids and keep your kids from being able to have kids. The messaging's got to be very simple. Like, you don't actually care about kids. You don't care about my kids. And even with all these people that are single parents and blah, 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 they still love their kids. They love their kids enough to do what's best for them. And that's got to be the messaging going forward, because the Democrats cannot make that stance. At no point can they make the stance that they're for children. They're for special interests with public schools. They're for a bunch of people that you've never heard of that are just unvetted coming into your country illegally. They're for them. They're not for you or your kids. They're for pedophiles. They're for more crime. Because you got to think about this. It's crime. Do you want your kids growing up in a bunch of crime-riddled places? Well, guess what? The left is doing that, left and right.
For segregation.
I mean,
it looks different, but they're that's what they're advocating for.
Yeah, it's what they want. But that's the game that we're playing. That's the game that they're playing. And the reality is this: no one's calling them to task, because let's get real. The Republicans have the only thing the Republicans know how to do now is, oh wait, Trump came and saved us. Trump's not coming over the hill every single time. He's not going to happen. Smartest thing Trump can do, like, and I'm starting to land on this a little bit more. It's not even so much that Trump comes out in 2024, because if he does, he's getting my vote. It is what it is. And I think he's going to crush whoever they put up there, because they're not putting Kamala up anymore, which is hilarious. How bad is that? How bad do you have to be as a VP with a decrepit old guy, knowing that he can't run again, that they won't put you up because you're that crappy?
I saw
imagine Kamala versus Trump.
I saw a poll that only 37% of Democratic voters want Biden to run again.
I know they don't because it's a joke. It's a joke, because they were duped by Orange Man Bad. And they're like, oh,
Amazon made a documentary about Mayor Pete Butt stuff, so he'll save the Democratic Party.
Yeah, man. Mayor Butt stuff, yeah, man. He did a really good job with it, with the infrastructure. He did a great job with the logistics going on in America. Sure. But anyways, my point is this.
I said, sure.
He did a great job. He's on paternity leave. For the kid he couldn't have, he had to adopt. But anyways, my point is this. I think that the reality is this. I think that we have to be aware of the pulse of the country. And guess what happens? When you mess with people's kids, all bets are off. These guys have been messing with our kids for a very, very long time. And I think that at some point you have to wake up and push that. Even though, let's get real, I don't believe in the Republican Party, but I do believe in pissed off people. Pissed off people tend to make decisions and force things to happen that you typically wouldn't see. Let's get real. We don't have the president. We don't have I keep saying we loosely, sorry. Republicans don't have the presidency. They don't have the House, and they don't have the Senate, which was told to us by really smart Republicans that would be required to get rid of Roe versus Wade, and that thing's about to go away. So it's amazing what happens when people get pissed. It's amazing what happens. You see a blue state flip red in a weird election year because people got pissed, okay? You're seeing a lot of changes happen. You're seeing the reality show up, because we're figuring out the 81 million was bullcrap. We're figuring out that all the promised things that would happen under good old Joe are not happening. People are just seeing the reality. They're waking up to it. And like I said before, I think people are starting to realize that, politics are like pro wrestling. It's all staged and, it's all fake, but the reality of the situation is, if you can play to parents, parents will make things happen. They will, because you and I will do anything for our girls. Okay, short of killing somebody. If I had to kill somebody, I would do it for my daughters. Don't tell the police that. But it is what it is. Shh. You do anything for your kids, you would. And that's the messaging that keeps missing. We keep talking about fiscal responsibility, which is very important. Fiscal responsibility is important, but what's more important is, hey, by the way, do you want your kids to actually be able to own a home in the future, or do you want them to stay at your home forever?
Well, I mean,
it's up to you.
It's all tied together. That's tied to fiscal responsibility. Yeah.
But you can't say fiscal responsibility because people go. They just do.
Yeah.
They just do.
No, okay.
You suck at money.
If we're talking from a branding, marketing perspective, yeah, you're right.
It's branding. It's branding in reality.
Sure. Branding is important. I agree. If you want to maintain your power, you definitely want to brand yourself. Well,
I agree. I'm just saying you got to brand it a little bit, man. If you want to move the needle, you got to brand it. And I think that's it's interesting. We live in very interesting times, and I don't know. I was challenged with this idea the other day. You'll have to challenge me back on this as we're closing. This is my final thought. I've been very into Doug Wilson lately. Okay, very smart guy, very interesting ideas, and so on and so forth. Okay. Oh, nice. And he makes a point. Now, here's the thing. Eschatology is a very fun topic. Okay, especially for Christians. We love saying, like, you pre-mill, all mill, post mill. What are you, brother?
And for those who don't
always
know,
tell people I'm a pan mill.
Eschatology is the study of the
study
end
of the times.
And the prophecies and whatnot.
You know how I am with these debates. I always try to stick to the middle, so I say that I'm a pan millennial. It'll all pan out at the end. That's my stance. It's like Arminianism and Calvinism. I'm like, I'm a Calvinist light. So whatever is in between, whatever that is. Just kidding. But I think
it's called what the Bible says. So, yeah.
No, I'm not starting that fire. I'm not ringing that fire out right now. But
it is.
He makes Doug Wilson is he makes some very interesting points, and he's a post mill guy. I'm not a post mill person. Again, I'm a pan millennial. It'll all pan out. I think that we know as much about the end times as the people did in Babylon when Isaiah was prophesying about the Messiah. Like, it was all there, but nobody could put it together. God perfectly puts everything together. But he always makes a point that in the post-millennial, the post-millennial view is that the world is actually getting better, and we're progressing towards the point where Christ comes back. And he makes a point, and he always says that we're advancing to the rear. We're advancing to the rear. And I was challenged by that idea, and I was like, okay, that's an interesting thought process, because coming from the Baptist background that I have, most Baptists hold that premillennial thought process. Jesus, it's all going to get really crappy before Jesus comes back. Which, again, I'm a pan millennial. I see both sides. I'm just like, Jesus, come as soon as you can. Okay, that's where I stand, right? But it's a very interesting idea that you are advancing to the rear, and what that means is it's almost like a threshing of things happening. And what I see is when I see that there's no Republican power, okay, so the Republicans can't take it. They can't take credit if Roe v. Wade goes down this summer. Think about that. If Roe v. Wade goes down, they'll try, but they didn't do anything. They didn't do anything about it. Like, nothing.
There was no legislative action that made that happen.
No, they did nothing. They did nothing. And it's almost like God always does that, because you got to think about this, right?
They might have done something. They confirmed Kavanaugh and Coney Barrett, so.
No, they didn't. Trump did.
Well, Trump nominated them. They confirmed them.
Oh, okay, gotcha. But the wrecking ball made it happen. Because if the wrecking ball wasn't there, it would have been a Hillary Clinton appointee, or sorry, George Soros. I digress. Appointee. But my point is this: like, think about how God works. Like, He brings in this wrecking ball that is Trump. For all counts, is a godless SOB. Now, I've heard really good stories. We heard a couple good stories from our deacon, on Sunday, which was I thought was pretty cool.
Sure.
Which we got to get him on the show. I think it'd be hilarious. I think it'd be awesome. We just that old time Presbyterian thought process, Presbyterian / Pentecostal, which blows my mind.
Love those
background of his on here. Well, I've never heard of a Presbyterian before, ever. He's the only one I've met that's like that, which is funny, but we'll have to get him on the show.
He said he's a Presbyterian Pentecostal.
Well, I'll tell you a story. Presbyterian, yeah. Basically, the whole Bible, all of it. But it's an interesting idea because the Republicans can't take credit for this. Because you got to think about this. Everybody thought Trump was going to be a train wreck. And the guy who was the train wreck was one of the best presidents we've ever had. And the guy who was supposed to be the smart, bring everybody back, the experienced politician, looks like dog trash right now. 100%. Nothing of his stuff works. It all is bad. And God does this all the time.
An experienced politician only means that he spent decades lying,
getting elected
and
again,
doing nothing of significance.
Yeah, true. But my point is this: God always flips it the other way, right? Every religion tells you that you can do something to get saved. Following Christ says there's nothing you can do. You do nothing. There's nothing you can do to save yourself. Nothing. Everything that is given to you is by the grace of God. Your salvation, you can't do anything about it. Jesus had to do everything for you. Completely different. Every religion with their whatever figure is some amazing, powerful king. And we do serve amazing, powerful king, but he came in a freaking manger, in a feeding trough, at the lowest of the low.
Surrounded by shepherds. And now is
exalted above all things.
Not the royal court.
Right? No, yeah. And that's what's amazing is like all through the Bible, David is the second youngest of 12 brothers. He's the one that becomes king, right? All the things that we think are supposed to make sense get flipped. In every other establishment, the firstborn is the one that rules over everybody else. Not in the Bible. It's like always the second guy that always wins. So I'm glad I'm not a firstborn in the Old Testament. I'm just going to say that. I love being a firstborn now in 2021, not in the Old Testament, right? But God flips it every single time. One of the first 3 judges was a woman, just to throw it all off, man. Like,
Deborah,
you know what I mean? Like,
up.
hey, Deborah, look her up, man. I'm gonna throw this whole thing out. The first convert in what's now would be Asia was Lydia, right? It's crazy. Like God just flips all of it.
The first eyewitnesses to the resurrection, women.
Yeah, I mean, it's insane, right? The guy who was trying to kill off all the Christians becomes the catalyst for what we know about Christianity today, especially with all us Gentiles, us non-Jews, right?
Well,
so we're seeing it happen in front of us.
Here's the other beauty of that, okay? So Paul is one of the most learned Jews in Israel, right? One of the most learned Jews.
Jew of Jews.
He gets sent out to the Greeks and whatnot, who I'm sure have a very low opinion of the Jews, right?
Very low.
A learned Jew to the Greeks is going to be exactly bubkiss, you know? And then he takes Peter, a fisherman, and sends them to the Jews, who are going to have zero respect for a fisherman. What does this guy know? We have rabbis who've spent their whole lives studying the Torah and whatnot. But now this fisherman's going to tell me about who the Messiah is? That's how God works. He confounds the wise, you know, and lays low the proud.
And I think that's why. And I think that's why this freaky deaky Presbyterian post-millennial SOB, just kidding, he's not SOB, I love the guy, is making me rethink about things, because you think about how there's no momentum. There's no reason why Roe is going to get destroyed from a political standpoint. But if it goes down in summer, if it goes down, this is before the election, because the Democrats are going to let this happen before the election, hoping that this thing will save their election. But think about the implications of that getting shot down in America, and there is nothing behind it other than God. I think about that. So it's almost, you're advancing to the rear. We think we are losing. We lost the election, the Trump election, you know, and it was almost a good thing. It's like the idol of Trump got torn down, just like the idol of public schools got torn down, just like the idol of big Eva churches got shot down. All these idols keep falling to the point where, like, Joel Osteen is getting money found in his church, lining the walls of his church. Like, you know what I mean? Like the big idols are getting crushed before God. You know, they're bowing down. The Philistine God is getting smashed before the ark, right before us, and it's really interesting to watch. So I think that I'm very curious to see what happens in this election cycle, to see what's going on, because I'm not going to sit there and be like, you know, God is just going to bless America forever and ever and ever and ever. But I think that there's such a remnant of people who still believe in Christ, that still love Christ, that still follow Christ in our country, disproportionate to like the rest of the world, that there are things that God's just moving and doing in the right way. And, you know, I can kind of see it, even though we've got a complete and total senile puppet as our president. It's almost working out to our favor. I talked about it on the show the other day. I think this is the setup for the kingmaker that is Trump, that will right side, right the direction of America, not necessarily the Republican Party, but the direction of America, to the point where you're seeing like Democrats are not Democrats anymore. They're like, yeah, we're flipping Republican or independent, because they don't want to go with this madness anymore. And I think we're seeing an advance to the rear where it looks like things are falling apart, but they're really getting put together in the right way. So that's my hope. That's my hopium for the night. You know, that's my hopium for what's going on. But at the end of the day, it's not even about hopium. It's truth that Christ is in control. He's going to take control of all this, and we don't have to worry about anything, you know. And but it's really cool to see what's happening around here. It's interesting to see states like Virginia flip and Roe versus Wade start to fall apart, and you're seeing media control getting smashed. You're seeing the titans of CNN falling. You're seeing Cuomo disappearing, and you're seeing with the gay black guy get accused of sexual harassment, which is really cute after he just railed against that with Donald Trump. That never happened. It's funny watching all this stuff crumble in front of us. You know what I mean? So I'm enjoying the disaster. I'm enjoying watching it and laughing because what is it in Psalms? God laughs and mocks those who plan against him. So I'm interested to see what happens here. And going Old Testament on you today. Sure. What's your final thought, bro?
My final thought is, no matter what happens, for good or for ill, we must stay vigilant. Almost more so when it's good. Because
True.
Falling asleep and thinking that the good times are just going to last forever and that, you know, the evil will always be defeated is what got us in this mess in the first place. So if we learn anything, it's that don't go to sleep on the government. You know? If you're an anarchist, a minarchist, a libertarian, a conservative, a conservatarian, whatever you are on the spectrum of the right, And I don't mean the alt-right because they're
Reform
not...
Democrats will take you too.
What's that?
Reform Democrats will take you too. We know you're coming over too.
Even
actual liberals,
classical liberals, what independents. We'll include you too. All right. Don't sleep on the government. They want you to go to sleep so that they can do what they do best, enrich themselves and empower themselves. And that's the cause of all our problems. I mean, not all our problems.
Bro, that's the bottom.
The other
no.
The other thing that goes along with this is that God, no matter what happens for good or for ill, God is still in control. And so, being vigilant doesn't mean taking control necessarily. That it doesn't mean trying to will, trying to will things into existence or whatever, That's the realm of God, right? We just have our part to play in fighting the good fight. I think it's just a difference of the heart. That's a position of the heart. The strong one. Paying his voluntary taxes. The king himself.
Even I pay taxes.
Paying taxes voluntarily to support the show.
Because that's how much I love the show, bro. That's how
I
much
do it too.
love
I just don't do it. I can't
show.
do it on air because of various reasons. So.
Yeah, I know. All right, bro. It's been a fun night, man.
Good conversation.
Thanks for letting me. Yeah, man. Thanks for letting us talk, man. I appreciate it, man. I love how much this show is like we're twisting and turning, and it's funny like listening to our first shows versus now, and we've grown a lot, bro. You've become a super anarchist.
That's super.
I've
said it a million times. I'm not there 100%, but
you on that crazy train.
Yeah, they got me thinking.
You're going up that roller coaster.
And what's interesting is like, what's interesting, what I've noticed for my anarchist brethren out there who might be wondering why nobody's listening to you. There's people that I've followed that are, are anarchists, and and they'd post memes and stuff, and all of them are arrogant memes. Like basically all these people can say is how dumb you statists are, you're a republic. Oh, you want limited government, whatever, statist, and it's like that doesn't make me want to agree with you in any way, shape, or form.
And word to the wise, 90% of those cats wouldn't be able to defend themselves if they had to. Just being real. It's like the chihuahua behind the fence. They bark real loud until the fence goes away.
The arrogant attitude turned me off immediately. I was like, I'm not a statist because I think that, there's some measure of government that might be necessary. How about you treat me with kindness and argue against me with an actual argument, not just a name call, you douche. Then I found some people who actually did that, and the arguments were pretty dang good. And so I stopped following the ignorant a-holes, and so now I'm exploring the topic, let's say.
You're exploring.
I'm exploring. I'm finding myself.
That's where babies come from. That's where babies come from, bro.
Beautiful anarchist babies.
All right, dude. Send us home, bro. Send us home.
On that note, you've been watching Plausible Foolishness, the home of the Rube Empire, where the people are free, the taxes are voluntary, and we serve freshly roasted liberal logic every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 9:30 p.m. right here on twitch.tv/Plausible Foolishness, YouTube, Facebook Live, Rumble, anywhere you can get a podcast, Instagram, and minds.com. God bless. Peace out.
Bye.
All I really wanna do is vibe out. With me and you, I just wanna ride out. Love don't pay no mind to haters, baby, just jump inside of my spaceship.
Where you going? We gon' meet up somewhere. Earth is glowing, got you saying a prayer. In the moment, we ain't going nowhere. Nowhere, nowhere, let's go somewhere.
Send the addy, better pull up. Pull up, pull up, pull up, pull up. 30 minutes at the jeweler. Show her that I got the moolah. She won't ever need an OnlyFans. When we dating and no longer friends. Hold it down as the only man's. Keep her covered like them clothing brands. Past drama, not an issue. Call me Zaddy when I kiss you. To the moon going with you. Yeah. By my side while I wish you. Never leave cause I miss you. Time we make it official.
All I really wanna do is vibe out. With me and you, I just wanna ride out. Love don't pay no mind to haters, baby, just jump inside of my spaceship.
Where you going? We gon' meet up somewhere. Earth is glowing, got you saying a prayer. In the moment, we ain't going nowhere. Nowhere, nowhere, let's go somewhere.
Long as we're fine, let spears fly. I'm never in a pickle when you're nearby. Come here, my peach, tell me where your fears lie. Whenever we're together, I am sears high. Got stories reflecting on the movement like mirror sliding. Clears my head. I'm an animal and here's my den. Go ahead, I'll be right in. You're the one and only, the only one who's ever known me. The gravity of it is I'm still floating. Telling me gotta speed up and go slowly. Not it cause I'm lonely, feeling lonely. Never forgot about the moment you weren't afraid. Like Macaulay in the word you are fully. Anywhere that nobody's gone, we go boldly. Just another reason to begin the ceremony.
All I really wanna do is vibe out. With me and you, I just wanna ride out. Love don't pay no mind to haters, baby, just jump inside of my spaceship.